Greetings and welcome to Enigmatic. Have you ever noticed how philosophy is to almost every other field of study what quantum mechanics is to the physical world? By that, I mean that in quantum mechanics, things are undetermined, kind of chaotic, unpredictable, but at the same time, it's the what we see as the basis for physical reality as we're aware of it. Philosophy is very much the same when it comes to building up fields of study to understand the world around us and understand ourselves. Because we have these fields of study that we tend to try to draw certainty from, but what underpins them, there is no certainty. Because one of the things that makes philosophy the field that it is the fact that there is very little consensus. That's actually not the goal oftentimes. The goal is investigative, and there's no anticipation necessarily for a quote unquote right answer, but you develop what you can to the best of your ability. And so, that being said, certainty is a very funny thing to me, particularly when people exercise or try to show or act like they are certain about something. It's almost like they don't realize how deep it goes, because even though we have, these systems that we're able to derive more and more information from, and we get the optic that it is progressing us, that has been something that has happened in the past before with things that are now considered obsolete. So we have to be careful thinking that we are coming across it now when we've definitely thought that we've come across it in the past. And yeah, it's a very interesting kind of paradox that I see, but we're taught that paradoxes are a bad thing. Paradoxes are a bad word. But the consensus that we seem to have on certain things is really just an intersubjective verifiability. And being intersubjective, that means that everybody could be falling for the same trick or making the same mistake in deriving the information that they're getting and then operating from. So, for example, when thinking about what the mind is and what consciousness is in our fields of study, that are the most popular, that people can make a living in, that there's money in, that the interest and attention being the main currency of the world is in, tends to favor materialism in order to try to explain consciousness and the mind and things like that. And what's interesting about that is that materialism and physicalism, when coming to the point of trying to explain the mind, still fall short. What we really end up getting a lot of times is reflections of the mind in the physical world. So like a song is a reflection of a person that created the song, but they are not the song. The song isn't them. The song in and of itself is not human. But it is derived from a human. And I don't see why there can't be the same kind of distinction made between the mind and the physical world. Now, that's not to say that I'm a dualist, but, because I can argue against dualism as well. So, for example, one of the issues that Descartes came across was, how do you try to explain how something that is not physical impacts the physical world? So what I'm highlighting is that no matter what camp we choose, we're gonna be at an impasse, that there's something we can't justify, where there's a hole in the theory that we can't fill. And we try and try and try, but a lot of times when we're trying, we tend to either change what the issue is, or we equivocate in order to kind of weasel our way out of it. And sometimes we don't even realize that we're doing that. But all that is to say is that certainty is kind of almost an illusion, it seems like. When we feel certain, it's not about the thing that we're certain about. We're more reflecting our conviction. And our convictions are, we don't really get to choose those. That's why, the idea of free thinking, that's something that's actually hard to come across. because certain philosophies become popular, they end up, in the academic field. From there, it ends up into, the information ends into the masses, and they use it how they will without necessarily understanding the ins and outs of the topic that, may be in question. So, for example, going back to science, there's a lot of information that is put out that tends to make you gravitate towards materialism as an explanation and a basis, a metaphysical basis for reality. And that's the other thing that's very interesting, is that we want to explain things on a basis of physicality within science, but there's still metaphysical principles that underpin it for the science to be able to move forward. And so that again, is kind of a way of appealing to dualism. But even dualism is like that's it's a metaphysics, and we have to make certain metaphysical assumptions if we want to make progress in a certain field, and in a field of study. So yeah, this is just a random diatribe that I just kind of wanted to talk about. Hopefully it was stimulating for you. Please give a like, follow, subscribe, hit that bell. Be good to you, be good to others. Take care and have a great day.